Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of financial literacy. We're excited that you've joined us. Today, we have Ashley for Suncoast Credit Union. She's going to introduce herself. She's going to talk about breezing through the holidays. What a wonderful time to get started with breezing through the holidays. We got to move forward. We got to know what to do because it's coming up and we got to be ready. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ashley. Ashley, welcome.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for the energy and also that wonderful introduction. My name is Ashley Espinal, and I am with Suncoast Credit Union. I'm one of the facilitators that serves on the retail branch development side. And I love, love, love doing this with the team here. Always excited to serve you guys on this medium. So today's presentation is about, like Angela said, getting through the holidays, breezing through that. What does that look like? We all have our holidays, obnoxious, right? We love what it serves us for our many reasons. So it's super important that we buckle up and we do that the right way when we're spending. So we'll spend a great deal today just diving into what that looks like. But before I get started, I do want to first say that ask you actually, what is it about the holidays that you like the most? And feel free to use the chat here since it is a webinar style presentation. We'll look for those responses in the chat for what your favorite thing about the holiday is as we move forward. So breezing through the holidays. It's very easy to avoid spending when we can't always afford something, right? So it's always a good idea to create a nice spending budget prior to you going shopping. We know that these stores offer us a wonderful list of things that we can check off of our shopping list, especially when there's a BOGO or a nice holiday sale. But the truth of the matter is that breezing through that spending like that can be very harmful for our spending. So the holiday season, just reading from here, is a time when we need to make those memories count. And if we're looking back on those times and regretting what we spent and how we spent it, whether it was going a bit over on the food cost or the gifts, it can be regretful. And it does take away from that moment, right, that we share with our family. So the workshop today is designed to offer us a merry holiday and ensure that we go about it the right way. To start a spending budget, it's very easy. Sometimes we don't think of this as easy and we, jump the ship on how we can create that. So think about what is your total spending budget? How much do you have to spend going into maybe the holidays here for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's? Some of those just kind of like mush into each other these months, and we don't see where our spending goes. I've been there, I've done that, but now I'm more conscious, more conscientious, and a total spending for the entire holiday season will help you see where those source of funds are and how you can better generate them. So going in there with a plan, looking where you can allocate your gifts, maybe who's coming to the party, who's not, right? Versus how much you can allocate to that one gift buying, and how much are you also putting yourself into the pot for these gifts. And we'll talk about that soon as well. But also thinking about our priorities. And that's what we're talking and discussing here is what is the priority when we're spending and creating that holiday budget. So just a few things to consider here. And I'm reading from my notes is what is a priority? Is it giving a service? Giving a service sometimes doesn't cost us anything, and we can show a budget friendly gift idea when we think about other ways to give back. You can also give back in other ideas like large group settings where we could share the costs of a holiday budget, something like an elephant Christmas or an office thing that we do is, maybe setting limits. And if you're that party host, you can set that limit for all of your loved ones or friends to join. And, these are things that are not so new, right? But they are considered a holiday budget method. And sometimes we don't always see that as an idea for fun, that it can serve your pocket a much better spending for yourselves. Now, I do see that there's some chats entries. So we'll look to those. Angela, can we read the chat?
Sure. Sure. Your question was about what are your favorite part of the holidays, and it was gift giving, eating, sharing. That's what we have so far.
Oh, good. Yeah, those are my favorite too, especially eating. I love eating in the holidays. Um, well, that's not part of this presentation, but it certainly should be for me in terms of keeping back from the calories and counting those too. Thank you guys for participating in that. So moving on to our gifts and filling out holiday shopping lists. Who are you buying gifts for? How much will you spend? The total should not exceed the gift amount and budget. Now, this is very, very hard. Some of us may not have to deal with this so much. Maybe your loved ones or few friends don't get so, you excited about spending and everyone a gift to. While you would love to give to everyone, just like I would, I'm sure anyone else on this call and medium, it's always important to reel back in and really make it about a different style of love, right? So what we will buy, where you can buy it, there's different gift ideas. You can make gift ideas yourself. There's a lots of DIY that show more memorable moments of you thinking about somebody, and maybe it's that fresh meal that they really like that you make on this time of the year, or maybe it's you making a little arts and crafting about something that they are also passionate or loved about. So it can look different ways. We don't always have to buy what's considered the next fad, right? The next trend, something that's really maybe expensive and will show your love. It's always feels like that, like you have to put your best foot forward and maybe show them how much you love them and oodles of spending, but it doesn't have to be that way, especially if you're on a budget. It should not be that way if you're on a budget. So what will you buy? Where can you buy it? There's different stores out there that we can look to. There's stores that show that there's a lesser discounted price, right, for maybe a gift idea that somewhere else maybe more. So choosing also wisely which store we go to versus maybe non-designer or less discounted items can also serve our budgets well, and we can find really good things on there. And I'll tell you, one of those stores for me is maybe Ross or Burlington. I have found amazing gift ideas there for the low, very low. Now, what gift ideas have you found helpful? And please use the chat again for your family or your friends that you thought maybe you've not wanted to consider in the past. Maybe it's something that you didn't think that you would buy and you found that that person really enjoyed it, or something different that you did during this time and you found great joy in doing that, or anything else surrounding gift ideas. Take a moment there to see any responses in the chat. It looks like we have one there. Angela, do you mind reading the chat for us?
Sure. A trip, hotel stay, something you made.
Yeah, a trip. A trip can also be another form of making a gift. Absolutely. Doesn't have to be set ready for the occasion. Great ideas. Going out with someone, just spending that memorable time is also good to show, right? That quality time could be that love language as well. So all good answers. When we think of ways to lower our gift costs, those ideas that we shared in the chat, in addition to make or bake gifts, offering your services, something like babysitting during this time of year could also be a really good idea for some of us. Gifting exchange for groups and agreeing not to give gifts. We talked about some of these already before we got here. So I'll speak more to agreeing not to give gifts. Now, we get very excited, we get maybe invited to lots of things, and it's important that in those decisions you are building conscience to what you are agreeing to. Are you saying yes to every invitation? Think about how yes to every invitation also means maybe yes to a gift exchange. Maybe that's the party theme. So think about how much you'll have to give not only to those parties or events, but also your own that you want to host or be a part of with your family and friends that are maybe not invited to these things. So definitely one area there for us to be more cognizant of and think about when we're agreeing to partying it up or just, going to more events. It's been a long time coming. I know we're finally getting back to a sense of normalcy. The COVID brought different challenges for all of us. So feeling like we can go back to that normalcy may also overexcite us. In all honesty, that can deteriorate our spending and what we want to achieve. So don't forget these points here. Brick and mortar shopping. So going to that store that you like the most, or maybe the stores that you know are best places for you to find your good deals is so enticing, like we're reading here, because they will make those pretty, pretty, pretty nice stands of not just, one item to buy, but the next best item sitting right next to it to show you a full basket of things that you could take for that one person. And that is very enticing, but also a psyche thing, right? You look at this and how well it sits and how much that person might enjoy, or maybe being that person in the party that wants to show that you brought those best gifts. It's not about that, right? It should never be about that, because ultimately staying true to yourself and also to your shopping vulnerabilities are important for how you can stay on track. Bringing holiday shopping lists, just like we do for groceries, is one great way to stay on top of what are you there for, who are you there for, and what could you achieve so that you don't forget. Starting early shopping instead of last minute shopping, there's a huge difference in that. Sometimes early shopping will show you all the things without discounts yet. The last minute shopping may may also serve you good because there could be discounts, or it could be vice versa. But here, starting early shopping will prevent you from having those last minute anxieties when you're scrambling, trying to figure out what to buy. Maybe you don't find what you want within your budget. So you make those small, reckless decisions about just a last minute gift because you didn't have the time for yourself to look for that best gift idea or something within the means of your budget from your shopping list. So you make those impromptu decisions. And shopping with cash. Shopping with cash, it's not something we're always used to or less talked about, but it does help you stay on your budget because you get to see where that's going versus on a debit or credit card where you're just swiping. There's something about a mental connection with the cash that it helps you see it go as you hand that over to the clerk, and you can keep better track of how much more do you want to spend. In addition, the opportunities that we have when we're doing brick and mortar allow us to stay just within our means. So I do want to ask a question here about, have you ever had a circumstance caused by overspending? Any stories? Nothing is off grid here. And if so, how did you find a way to deal with it? So it may be a tip for us, maybe something that you were taught. I'll jump in here while we're waiting on responses. Something that I was taught was to maybe make my list of people shorter, maybe stick it to where I'm going and where I'm spending that time, and asking people what would they like for these holidays. And I found that what I thought was needed or asked for gift ideas to others weren't exactly what they wanted. And they just wanted very minimal things or items that I could actually afford. So definitely asking people was one. It helped mitigate how much I was losing over the years. It also helped me better understand what meant a lot to those people who I considered my loved ones. So asking, the easiest thing was what I found. And I recently got into culinary and I found people love food, so just reaching out of that, they like to try something new to bring to their party. So those are my two ideas, and I see that we've got some responses here, Angela.
Yes, someone said only spend what you can afford, quality versus quantity.
Amen to that.
And someone else said set a limit and don't overdo it.
Right, that is so hard. It is very tempting, but very true.
Don't go over that whatever that limit is.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Say
know
it
one
3
thing
times there.
one thing that I've done in the past was utilizing this envelope method. So however much I in cash. So however much I was going to whatever budget I had, that's it. That's all that I would take, because swiping a card, you would tend to go over because you have more on your card. So let's just say I was just going to, whatever, $300, and that's it. I would go to the bank, withdraw the cash, and then go to the store. And then I know I can't go over. And if I did, I would have to take some things off because I was determined not to use my card. I couldn't, there was no other cash to use. So that keeps you right there on that budget. So I've done that before.
Thanks for sharing, Angela. Yeah, more testament to shopping with cash works, especially with an envelope, right? It's like more steps to stop you and slow you down before you make those impulsive decisions. Thank you all for your responses. It's what works for you, right? And it's what will save you when you are making those mental conscious decisions. And brick and mortar offer you one regimen of shopping, but internet shopping is another one on this list. So remember holiday shopping lists still when you're internet shopping. Don't change your method just because you've changed this space and how you are shopping. You can still make those same impulsive decisions if you're not careful. So adding shipping to total cost here is what may be a bit different than just those store taxes that we're used to when we go to a brick and mortar. Additional to that could be maybe policies with returns. Not every list or cart that you will get to fill on the internet will always allow you to return something. And if it's something that maybe you've shopped for someone or yourself and you need to have that same policy or opportunity to return something for an exchange, then that could press on how you made your decision. In addition, there are also ways that our customer service, make sure there is customer service number when we have made decisions for assisting maybe small businesses with brick and mortar, or maybe those less attractive stores online. We don't always think about what or how many people can serve the needs. So just remember that you want to make sure this is still serving you just as a retail store or a store with a customer base forum where you can still achieve the same information. If you needed to provide if you needed to ask for any provisions of any support, like on your debit card or credit cards, that is super important during this time of year as well. Accidents can happen, fraudulent activity can happen, especially on the internet. So this can also chip away at your spendings if you are not careful about making those decisions on where you shop. Only purchase from secure sites. With that said, those this time of the year, there's a lot of, I would say, facades on the internet, or we have a bunch of terms that we call different things when there's a internet store posing as a real store and it's not in fact true. So, we want to make sure that we use what we know already about maybe using your phone well, so how you save your card information, your credit card information with these new sites that you've never been on. Something like Amazon would be a store that we're probably all familiar with or we know about because people often shop there. There's a reputation, there's some notion about this being secure. Ones that you hear less about or you're getting ads from for this time of year to save or purchase something new, it might not be the best option. So make sure they're secure. And other ways that you can also ensure that they're secure if you don't know the store online is by also looking at that web address. Does it show that lock on there or a security feature that shows you it is a reputable source and you can make a purchase there? If you're asking me, my rule is I do not shop on any sites that I do not know. And I'd much rather also go to a brick and mortar because I like that experience to be present and making that tangible purchase. But if you're not that way and you do like the internet shopping, please consider these shopping keys in addition to using your credit card. And one reason why we say this here for versus debit card is that a credit card can actually protect your funds even further. So a credit card, if you have that and you want to budget that way resourcefully, but still make that payment once you're done, so you're still doing it within the means of your same budget list. It is not an extension of your current checking or your direct checking or savings account. So if it were accidentally, or maybe you were just victim of fraud, it would not tie up your funds during this time of year or when you need it most. So if using a card and you have a credit card and you are able to use that balance, a credit card may be a good fit for you. But that is all pending on how, right, you are budgeting and if that meets your goals. So lots of careful there when you're doing internet shopping. In addition to internet shopping is ensuring that when you are on the site, everything works properly. You know, you can skim through it to make sure that things look well, you know, the carts are working as you are pushing your information, you know, keying that in, whether it's a laptop or mobile device, that you are doing it from a source also where the connection is not freely open to everyone. As you're inputting that information, there could be some local fraudulent activity at that, kind of skimming for that information and picking it up as you're inputting it. So just be very careful. Usually at home is the best place where you're secure if you have that Wi-Fi or somewhere that you trust, so that you can also be secure while you're shopping online. Things that we don't talk about, I don't think enough, but super important to consider when making those shopping. And if at any time you have a question or a comment, also feel free to use the chat. Now let's talk about the real hard faces to say no to, especially those that we love and are our children or children in your family or maybe friend group that you want to share the joy and see those smiling faces like we see here. And it's setting realistic expectations, and that's very hard, right, to do, but it's important that you do that so that you don't make emotional ties to your budget. And I say that because we will enhance numbers to really make one gift count. And in all honesty, it's really hard to do these budgets when toys are actually not that inexpensive as we think they should be. I have a 9-year-old daughter and I see her and her requests and I let her know we're gonna choose 2 top gifts here, or you can, you know, use your budget a different way. So give them ideas so that you can also share how you can include them into these budgets to help you and to show what the meaning of the budget is. It's a great opportunity as well, but give them a budget for them to choose their gifts or and ensure them, right, that it's not about this spending, it's about time with family, what that means to you, and emphasizing on that meaning for you and your loved ones so that they too understand and participate how you are introducing them. So it's just a disappointment when we don't get that LOL house. That's something that my daughter wants, or maybe that Xbox or PlayStation 5. I know a little about that, but those are very unrealistic expectations when you have so many people to give to, or maybe not the budget, right, to ensure that everyone's covered. So starting early maybe can help you achieve those bigger gifts. Now's a good time. Black Friday's a good time, or setting less expectations, more realistic expectations so that the child and you know we're in this together And this is why we're gifting and what it means. Now, this is one of my favorite ones, gift wrapping. And I'll tell you why. It's my favorite because I like to show off my craftiness and the beautiful paper that I find at Target. But that can also put us into a tailspin and lose our money. So use what you have in the house. It's not weird. I'll say the word. It's not weird. It's a great idea. Newspaper, cereal boxes or other food containers, old maps, computer paper, shopping or supermarket bags, or maybe just one bag where you could put all your gift wraps. I know it's not tangible and I know it's not something that, we always think of. We want to show our gifts and we want to make a great representation about them, but the honesty is that that paper starts to add up. And especially if you have a huge list of gifts, right? So think about the math in that, how many gifts you have, how much you need to cover each of them, the square footage of each paper, it starts to get very expensive. So, just think about how you can gift or represent those same gifts and still show the value of them. Of course, we learned and we're agreeing here that it's not so much about the quantity, it's the quality. And sometimes we put those barriers in it for ourselves, or these traditions that are always passed down on how they should look. There's other mediums that you could use for gift wrapping, and there's also other places that show less expensive options as well. Um, I really like the idea of the newspaper. I think it's cute. You can add a little touch to it, like a pine cone, like we see there, or something less, or different. It still shows the same sentiment. I haven't seen, I'll admit, the cereal boxes one, but I have heard people using that. I would be very interested to see that. And shopping or supermarket bags, maybe from their favorite stores, right? If you went to one of their favorite stores and you use the same shopping bag, they would appreciate that too. I know if someone's getting me some body spray from Victoria's Secret and they bring that little bag, I am a happy camper. Any other ideas that you all have for gift wrapping or how you deliver gifts to each other that you may think are saving you a buck or a dime here? Right. We'll look to the chat there as it moves. Cards. So everything is getting expensive. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a response there?
Yeah, I was reading get sometimes the store will gift the bag like in the container when they bag it, and they'll put like bows on it and you can just give it just like that. So it's actually free.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen that. That's very true. That's a good idea as well. Definitely, if it's free, it's for me, right? Especially when you're on the move and wanting to make sure that you reach all those gift ideas. Thank you, Angela. So for our cards, making your own cards or newsletter so that you get to show still your, sentiments and how they mean to you is super important to consider as well. Handmade cards are very, very emotional for anyone to receive, but they also, show that time that you spent to deliver that message or put into words how you feel about somebody, and it doesn't need to always look like a Hallmark card, right? So think about ideas like that. Think about also other creative ways. There's nice cardstock that you may find at Dollar Tree, Dollar General, or even in the nice card aisle of Target or Walmart. And they're nice cardstock ideas that are completely plain. Sometimes over the holidays they have like a trim to them, and you can add, your sentiments there. And they do have envelopes, so there's less or different ways to do that. Taking a picture for a card, nowadays there's all sorts of things. I like to use something called Canva, and it's like this digital app that's free. I don't pay anything for it, but whenever I have maybe a quick picture that I want to put together that looks maybe like something I made online, I could put that together and then go to my nearest CVS store or Walgreens, put my phone and plug it in and get cards for 30 or 50 cents. Extremely cheap, lots of quality shown, and it looks like I spent a great deal using some creative ideas. Electronic cars are just as valuable, especially ones that people can put up in their cloud and think of. These are different ways of the day now, being in the digital era. We don't always have to have a tangible to hand off to, and maybe paper isn't the most resourceful thing for someone to keep on, so an electronic card may be appreciated. Maybe you could ask them, how can I send you this card? Or sending them in an email, nice bow tie message as well, is no different than a text message or some way of you sending that electronically. And you could also, like the phone illustration, create those impressions for you to share to them. The term mailing list, and that's a lot different. Maybe not everyone uses that, but it's still a different way to deliver a card. And that's what we're talking about here, is to be an out of the box thinker for how you could save your money. Some people take it really far and they are great ideas, don't get us wrong, but they do not serve your budget a good purpose all the time. Now, if you made that place in your budget, shoot, go for it, right? But if it doesn't, maybe not, scale back. And that trailing mailing list would also be a good fit for you. Now, I really enjoy the holiday part where I get to decorate my home or bring decorations for a decoration party, and you may find that very appealing as well. And it is fun. It's fun to do it with your friends, your family, and whatever traditions you may have. So maybe ones that you might not have thought of or think, oh, it's maybe not so great to do. These are still really good things to do in the holidays, and they hold tradition. And the popcorn garland, paper chains, or snowflakes made out of, maybe basic computer paper, or going on a walk and looking for these pine cones. I know we have lots of trees here in Florida and lots of pine cones this time of year. It still gives you that option for decorations and that touch in your home that you want to bring out of the holidays. So, I mean, I've seen people purchase a whole bag of popcorn and pine cones at Walmart when you can pop the popcorn yourself and put it on a garland, or just go get the pine cone from the local park and put it together beautifully like it is here. And if you're not into that stuff, maybe your kids want to do it, right? And it's a great activity for fall for them, or for the winter, the holidays coming up. So be creative. It doesn't have to be all of these ideas or any of these. There's lots of options as well, like Etsy or different social sites that show you different, I meant to say Pinterest on that one, Pinterest, that offers you some ideas that you can think outside of the box with what you have already, or some items that you may not have thought of to still bring out the holiday spirit. And I'll tell you, my daughter loves the pine cone one. That and some paper making, and it still feels like Christmas when we put it on the tree and it's her little ornament. So it doesn't always have to look like a crystal ball, and that's okay, because it's what the memories make out of it. Does anyone else have any other DIY, do it yourself decorations that you do over the holidays? We'll look to the chat and wait for those responses if you have any. Entertainment. Now, I would love to know here who likes to host parties. Hosting is a lot of pressure, so much pressure that sometimes you tend to cut corners. You cut corners because it's less work, or you committed to one thing and you decided to recommit to something else and you change your mind last minute. Lots of decisions involved with entertainment and lots of spending as well, especially if you're hosting for a lot of people. Now, all the things we've spoken about up to this point can lead up to how you entertain and what you make of entertaining folks, right? So if you're hosting a big dinner party, or promoting the potluck, maybe everyone to bring a dish, or you're just opening your home to, everyone gathering and you're focused on just the decoration piece of it. whatever that is, look for the best deals and look for your place in that, right? If people are willing to look to bring a dish and do a potluck type of style for, that gathering, or if they're looking for appetizers or desserts to bring, don't say no. Sometimes in this holiday spirit, we want to just serve so much and say, yes, we got this. Yes, we're going to take on the whole party by ourselves because you find great joy. And then it doesn't turn out that way for you when you're all by yourself and needing to do all of this. It's not ideal. And if they're asking you, take them up on it. And that will help the spending. It will also help that you look for free and low cost activities. There's lots of new things going on. I see them sometimes on social media or on the TV where, it promotes different things to do with your family that are funny and cute. Like making a new tradition that you may have not done before with maybe some of the items that you already have in your home. One thing that my daughter's school has taught me is to look for items, around the house and make it like a competitive thing during the holidays. And we'll see, how much we can come up with. And she loves that game. She loves being able to find it and look for it and show her creativity. So that would be a good idea for kids. You may have already done others as well. So if you found what works for you, that's good. But another thing to consider is also the use of coupons when you're hosting a dinner party. And if you've never used a coupon, you can search for them online. You can look at coupons, I think now anywhere. It used to be that we could only refer to them on handouts or magazines from the stores, like coupon books, but now they're available online. You can snip them before. You could do this anywhere. I do this sometimes when I go to Target or potluck, ready for things like that. Even Publix and Walmart, they offer those too. You can snip them before you get there on your phone, and then you can use them or register as a um, customer, and it'll recognize your number and take those discounts right off of the lists. Um, Maybe even changing your idea for your potluck party, or maybe an appetizer dessert that you have to bring doesn't have to be one item. If you saw that there was a opportunity for a buy one get one free for a better deal, making those changes at last minute on in a situation like that can also be better ideal for you. So don't feel super committal about everything. Kind of go in there with a plan, right? Your budget. But if you get steered into a different direction just because your buck will thank you, then make those conscious decisions. Travel. I know someone here talked about traveling and showing some love that way versus lots of expensive gifts. So if you like to travel and if it's airfare, definitely over the holidays, it gets expensive. Maybe we've all seen that here. You might get lucky in that very last seat that will serve you a nice seat on the Airbus for a less discount rate than everyone else on the plane because they're trying to fill it, or you might not get that lucky at last minute. So booking early, if you want to go in December, maybe looking now, if you have put that budget aside, also looking for airfare that is flexible. Flexibility offering you a layover, right? So maybe, pacing the flight, but still an opportunity to save money. If your time is not of the essence, being flexible is not a horrible thing. You could bring a book, you could bring your electronics, you could visit a new city when you do a layover. And that kind of thing actually excites me because I will get to see something else in the way or route to my travels. So think about that. And also think about your off-peak time when you're searching for those flights, right? So early morning flights versus night flights, those will show a very distinct change in what costs are to that flight. Also, search engines. Search engines will sometimes promote the best bang for your buck, but other search engines will sometimes try to package deals and not show the best opportunity for you. So sometimes I have found going right to the source, the air flight where the the plane is running from will show me a better deal versus another forum that might loop in some other additional pricing, charge me for looking for the same, opportunities that I can look for, and put it into that price. So I hope that those serves you as some tips. In addition to use webcam to be together if cannot afford travel. That's always a very inexpensive alternative route. And I think COVID taught most of us that is that we could definitely use our web cameras, FaceTime, our computers if you have them, to still have that touchful moment. I mean, it's not touching, right, if they're not physically there, but it still can feel that way, because we're all trying to make that effort to make that connection. So if you can't travel, still make that opportunity. Schedule a time frame where you guys can all join in together and still have that holiday affection that you're looking for. Now, as you plan for these holidays, also plan for next year. Plan for the years to come. It's always a lesson to be learned when you're thinking about how did you meet your spending? How did you succeed? How did you find lessons learned? There's always opportunities for you to make this reflection so that you can think about that opportunity. And it's very important to set some time and think, right? Managing your finances requires that skill of stop and think before you start to spend. And you will always find when you do that, when you promote these behaviors for yourself and others, that you will easily find those opportunities or make new memories, make new alternative things where your spending went before and it wasn't so important to you the year to come. So always make that reflection so that you can identify what those are and see to separate your savings. When you plan and you invest in yourself in this way, you can also offer an opportunity to better your life. And that's most of our focus here, is not only having fun and breezing through the holidays, but doing so in a more relaxed, less stress and anxiety filled manner. That's not what the holidays is for, right? But we tend to fall victim when we do not promote the best behaviors in ourselves or set ourselves up like that. So here's a challenge for all of you. In January, the holidays will be maybe the last thing that you're worried about, right? Because you're looking at, okay, what did I do? Hopefully, I didn't do some damage. It's hard to open that app or maybe look at your spending that you've written down, that holiday list, how well you did. But actually, think about how you can start saving. Sorry, scan, look to your shopping history. It's a great time to check back and see where all of that went. Save receipts, save gift exchange, save everything that you made while you went spending. And if you did not use something, that tells you also that you may have overspent or it was not needed. That's going to help shape up your savings or your checking accounts, whatever accounts you have to discuss your savings with your partners or those involved with you. It's super important that you consider these actions right after spending, not just over the holidays, but anytime. And we partner up with Balance at Suncoast, and we consider Balance to be a very informative and educational counseling service. They are amazing. And for our members and potential members, we offer a very easy service here where they're always available to you as well. Presentation was also provided by them, where we get to partner and do what we can for our community. So if you have any questions, you can call toll free to the number on the screen for more additional insight on other ways that you can help save and maybe repay some of the debts that you want. Maybe that's a goal for you over the holidays. You don't always have to participate in everything, and that's okay, because it is what it is, right? If you are the priority, that is true for you, and it should be that way. So consider how you want to make amends or walk through this holiday season and make sure that you're doing what's right for you and your household. And I think we ended here just a tad earlier, but we give ourselves some 12 minutes to end here. So Angela, pass it over
All
to
right.
you.
Well, thank you so much for that, Ashley. That was great. Great tips. And I am surely going to use some of those tips this holiday so I can breeze through it and come out debt free on the other end. So thank you for that. If you have any questions right now, we are open to take any questions that you may have. All right, I see that we have none. So I guess you did a very thorough job, and they just were saying a great presentation. Thank you so very much. Again, thank you all participants for joining us tonight for this well-informative session. Again, it is recorded, and we will see it by the end of this week, posted to our YouTube channel. We're going to post that once again. We'd like for you to like and subscribe to our channel. And that way, if you miss any of the sessions, and there are a plethora of other sessions that you might want to see, you can go ahead and watch those and share with your family and friends. There we go. It's right there. Grab a hold of it. And with that, we're going to say goodbye, everyone. Take care and have a good evening.